want to talk a little bit today about an interesting take on AIED, and it's something that it's always messed with me, right? I mean, I'm pretty well into the AIED space. I was in Mountain View, California, met Sal Khan, creator of Khan Academy, at the first ever Khan AIED Summit, where I presented two of my AI powered apps. So I'm pretty well into the AIED community, if you ask me, and I've been pretty up to date on the advancements in AIED. I really want to take a moment to acknowledge this thing. I'm going to quote Isabel Howe here, who is the director of the Stanford Accelerator for Learning, and it is the fact that, well, not really a quote, more like a paraphrase kind of thing that she said, which is just kind of relational intelligence and just how important relational intelligence is in this age of AI. And that's something that really kind of stuck with me. And it's something that greatly influenced the continued development of the AI ED apps that I'm currently developing. Relational intelligence is super duper important, and all the apps that I try to create emphasize good practices to maintain relational intelligence. And relational intelligence meaning the ability to interact with humans, right? The ability to interact genuinely with humans. So I try to emphasize that ability and how important that is in my apps. So that's something I just want to mention because I think it's really important to acknowledge. Now, coming to the point where this take, and this is just something that really messes with me because it's so practical, but it's just not being done, and it's crazy. I want to kind of give a remark, and this is when I heard Sal Khan speak at the summit. I was very close to him. I was like very close to the front row. He was talking about how the education system is it's very industrialized, and he was talking about how he was talking about just if 70% of the class does well, the other 30% will just get ignored. They'll fail, but they're allowed to fail, right? It doesn't matter, right? As long as the majority is doing well, like everyone else is kind of irrelevant. These tests, these scores, and how it's just such it's the only indicator. It's the only indicator of good performance in a class, and how industrialized the education system is, and how the education system needs to adapt to AI so that it gets out of this industrialized bubble where these scores and these scores and these scores just determine one's performance. And so that really stuck with me, and it was really something that made me have a really peace of mind for the future, because Sal Khan is not just an emerging pioneer in AIED, but also just in ed tech itself. Khan Academy revolutionized education by making education, world class education, world class content accessible to millions, if not billions, around the world. And so the fact that I was able to see that in person, hearing him speak, and how he just really gave me a peace of mind, because he's not one of those who believe in this industrialized education system. So that's something I want to bring up, and also with that, this brings me to kind of the idea of practical education. This is where I would say this take kind of differs a little bit from, it's always like AI is an aid, AI is a, AI can't, should not replace your thinking. And I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. AI should not take over your thinking. There are certain things that you should be able to reason out and, think on your own without using AI. But I'm really just kind of thinking, like, are the things we're giving in schools just, if AI can do it in like 5 seconds, are the things we're giving in schools too easy for students? Instead, why can't we just think practically here? Why can't we give students questions? Why can't we give students assignments that can't be done by AI? They're so abstract that even if they use AI to help them, it's just not possible. It just won't give out a genuine response. And so we should shift to an education system that encourages AI and encourages the use of all resources that even professionals get, but are given problems that can't be easily solved in 5 seconds with an AI. But to counter this perspective, I don't really have great examples that can defend this perspective as to like how can teachers come up and find problems and put them into their curriculum so that this practical system is possible, where students are allowed to use all the resources they want but still have to critically think to get the answer to a question that can't simply be solved by just pasting the question into an AI agent. It's very, very hard to do that. But if we can achieve that, just imagine how much faster and more successful our world will be. Because everyone, regardless of the age, will be working on problems that are yet to be solved. As Paul Erdős once said, or believes in, there are certain proofs, unsolved proofs, this is in terms of mathematics, that are just proofs from the book. Proofs from the book. And what he means by proofs from the book is there are certain proofs that are yet to be discovered, that are just there, that are yet to be discovered. There are proofs from the book that are yet to be discovered. Proofs from the book, from God itself, that are yet to be found. And these proofs from the book, they will eventually be found with every single person in the world solving these problems. A collective effort. It's hard. It's hard to make this work because of how absorbed our education system is with AI, with this industrialized. With AI, with this industrialized system. It's hard. But I really think that the more practical we get into collective problem solving, using all resources out there, our society will advance faster. Now, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing is up to you. Do you want our society to become more advanced or no? Could that create more problems or eliminate problems? That's up for, I think that's fate. It's really just based off of our fate as humans. But I think about this every day, is how can we is there just any way we can make our education system more practical so that students can still critically think, but in a way that's practical, by doing problems that can't be done by simply just an AI agent. It requires critical thinking. Why can't we have that? That's something I kind of am thinking about, and I hope those of you who've made it this far and watching this video are thinking about as well. How can we? Is there a way to achieve this?